let's see who's going to join us today. Now that we are back after having a nasty cold that went through our house here, we are officially back in business. Still a little raspy at times, but for the most part, I think we're good. All right, there we are. We're going to share quickly with our groups here. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. We just want our groups. There's our VIP and our team. Okay, we are officially moving right along here. And hopefully everyone will find us okay. Hey, Miss Sherry's, nice to see you. All righty. All right, let's get through our housekeeping real quick like a bunny. Bonus days, we are in the final days of being able to redeem those $5 coupon codes. If you received any last month, you have until the 28th to use them up. I'll be honest, I just turned mine in Friday. All right, Paper Pumpkin, we are now in the March subscription period. Spring is really coming. Before we know it, the March kit is called Fluttering Garden. You have from now until March 10th to get in on that. You're going to create 9 cards. It's going to be charming cards with a hummingbird motif for Mother's Day and more. You'll make 3 each of 3 designs with 9 coordinating envelopes. You'll get some textured white card bases, pre-cut paper pieces, and sentiments. And the coordinating colors will be basic gray, Coastal Cabana, Early Espresso, Gorgeous Grape, Old Olive, Peach Pie, and Pretty Peacock. And the ink spot will be basic gray. Oh, hey, Kay. Hello, Miss Sue. So glad to see you. All right, ladies. So just getting through this housekeeping quick, and we're going to get to business. The product of the month for the month of February is the Painted Illusions Designer Series paper. Again, you place a qualifying order, and then you are eligible to place an order for this product for $5. So you need to spend $75. You get to be able to add this to your order for $5, or any leftover product from previous months. Like right now, I do believe the last 2 product of the month products are still available, so you could choose one of them if you decided you did not like this DSP. But it is an option. If you spend $75, you do get to add the product of the month for $5. It is a steal. The paper is really pretty. I do have mine coming. And then they'll have a new product of the month going into March. And I'll let you know what that is when we come up. All right, this week we are featuring the Petals of Beauty bundle as well as the Words of Beauty. They go together. There is an entire suite of product that contains both of these bundles, but of course you can purchase the bundles separately. But I did put them together because they do work perfectly together, because you have this Petals of Beauty, which is all of your floral images, and then of course Words of Beauty, which is all your sentiments. And then part of the suite, where did I put it? Right here, is this gorgeous designer series paper, and this is called Brushed with Beauty. And there's some gorgeous patterns in here. You have all these beautiful florals. We have the striped, this floral here with this, looks like paint splotching. Then there's this, then this floral, more of the striped with that floral. I love. And then you have the mossy meadow with Old Olive, and then this floral. It is just so beautiful. And then there's this one here, that pattern, and that's all of the paper. Also, as part of the bundle, or the suite, I should say, is, oops, I do. Oh, goodness gracious. You get the Pearls of Beauty. And then there is the beautiful pattern embossing folder, which is this one right here. So that is part of the entire suite. If you were to purchase the whole suite, you'd get both bundles, the designer series paper, the embellishments, and the embossing folder. So we are using the entire suite tonight. And I will show you the gorgeous cards we're making. Get them out of the way. Oh, hey, sis. So we have our fun fold, of course. I think you're amazing. That opens just like so, because we always love a good fun fold. And then we have Just Because. So we have our Just Because. And then we have Because I Love You. So really fun set. And there's that embossing folder. So you want to see the texture that you get with it. It's almost like a lattice. It kind of reminds me of. Oh, there we go. With some stitching. It's really pretty. I love the texture that gives. All right, so we're going to set those aside here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our fun fold. So for this one, I have 2 pieces of Calypso Coral. So the 2 pieces, this one measures, what did I do? 5.5 by 7 1/4. And that's scored at 3 inches. So let's find our bone folder. And we're going to go ahead and fold on that score line. So again, 7 1/4 by 5.5. And it's scored at 3 inches. And then the second piece of Calypso Coral is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 square, and I scored it at 1 inch. And that actually attaches right here. So you line up this edge with the edge of the card base just like so. And you want to have it centered when you attach. So that's what gives you this flap. Okay. Then I have a couple pieces of the designer series paper. And I have these cut 2 3/8 by 5 1/4. That's this one. 2 5/8 by 5 1/4. This is the floral. And then the second one is 3 inches by 4 inches. And that's for this panel here. Then I have a piece of basic white, 5 1/4 by 4. And this is for the inside of our card. And this we'll put in after we do our attaching here. So let's go ahead and attach our designer series paper. So there we need our adhesive. And we're just going to put this on this here flap on the front of our card base. I think these colors are so pretty. Okay. So there's that. And then we're going to put our 3 by 4 onto here. All right. Next, we are going to go ahead and on this 1-inch flap we created when we scored, we're going to add adhesive. Now, I would recommend if you were to recreate this card, use tear tape. You want a nice strong adhesive holding this in place because you don't want it to come undone. So now I'm going to close my card and I want to get this all lined up on the center and at the edge like so. So you can open, burnish that down, use your bold folder. Because again, you want that to really adhere to your card base because you don't want that coming up. And now we can take our basic white panel, add our adhesive, and add that to our inside. And that's going to cover up that flap that you just adhered. And it'll also add a little extra holding power to it as well. So now, oh, hey, Arlene, I didn't even see you pop on there. Okay, so there's our card base all set. So now we have to work on our little decorative pieces here. So we're going to start with our larger scrap piece here. And I'm going to pull in the non-detailed floral images. And for them, I'm going to use, let's see, what do we have here? Peach Pie. And I've got my Calypso Coral. So we're going to start with our Peach Pie for the non-detailed images. So I'm going to start with the large one. Make sure that gets inked up really well. And there's our peach pie flower. And then we need our smaller peach pie flower. And we're going to stamp that. Okay. So close that up. You do want to just clean those off. And then I'm going to bring in the detailed stamps. And for those, I'm going to use the Calypso Coral. So for the little one, let's see, we're going to ink up with our Calypso Coral. And I'm going to bring this a little closer to myself. Line that up and stamp. Now we're going to take our larger one. And we are able to do this because we are using photopolymer stamps we can see through to line them up. And I do like to look for a petal, like in this one, it's got this little, I call it the kicker petal. So that I look to line that one up to make sure everything else lines up pretty well once I do that. There we go. And We've now got our larger flower. And I do want to keep that out because I didn't do that the first time, but there is, and I did notice that after the fact. There's a little stamp here for the center. And just pull that off. And it will work on all of them. So I'm just going to go ahead, ink that up, and do our center like so. And just clean that off. And clean that one off. Okay. Next, I want my mossy meadow. I think I can fit that on here. Where's my... Yes, I can. So we're going to take our mossy meadow and we're going to ink up our little leaves here. There we go. And I'm just going to stamp that down. And there we go. And while we have this out, we're going to do I Think You're Amazing. So we're going to ink that up. Also in Mossy Meadow. I think you're amazing. Okay. Now we've got our Think You're Amazing. And now we're going to do some die cutting. I'm going to bring in my dies. I have them all out onto this here. That's going to take care of that. And then I need these two flowers. All right. So let's go ahead and get our leaf lined up. We need our little flower. Where did I do? There it is. Post-it tape, of course. So we're going to get our little flower all lined up. Then our large flower. Okay. And then, of course, our sentiment needs to be lined up. And then, of course, the baby boss. Plates. Run those through. And then we need our sentiment. Okay. I'll bring everything back here. Peel off our tape. We have our sentiment. That back on the magnet board. We have our leaf, our large flower, our small flower, and we're going to get our dies back onto the board so we do not lose them. Okay. First, we're going to take our leaf, and I am just going to add a little adhesive. And that's going to go down here in this lower corner here. Just like that. Then our little flower. Whoop. Just going to have that come around about like so. This one, we want some dimensionals. And that's going to go right about like so. Next, again, we want dimensionals. I think you're amazing. And that's going to go right there. And then, once I figure out what I just did with those, oh, there they are. We want our Pearls of Beauty. Or take your pick tool. Get our putty I'll put together here. And that finishes card number 1. Oh, hey, Brana Sue. So nice to see you. All right. So that completed our first card. Easy peasy. But a pretty cool fun fold, if I may say. All right. So that is our first card. Now, let me put the cover on our putty. And we're going to make our second card, which is our Just Because card. Now, this one, I let the Designer Series paper do most of the work for us. And, of course, I used one of my favorite base colors, Crumb Cake. Excuse me, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we'll fold on that score line. Burnish that fold. Excuse me. And there we are. And then we have a piece of the Designer Series paper. This measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we're just going to stripe side up. So that goes on the center, just like so. Next, I have another piece of crumb cake. This measures 3 inches by 4 inches. And then we have another piece of the designer series paper. This is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And that's going to layer like so. So this time it's floral side up. And trying to keep things more affordable for mailing purposes, we're keeping things flat. So no dimensionals here yet. And this is going to go right on the center of our card base. Just like so. All right. Next, I have a scrap very vanilla piece. I have some vellum. And I have a scrap piece of mossy meadow. And I have it backed with some sticky adhesive sheet. All right. So what we're going to start with is I am going to, where is it? This is the one. Grab that die. And I want this die and this die. So we have our detailed just that's going to cut out of the mossy meadow with the sticky strip. And then I'm going to cut out another piece just from the shadow piece from the Very Vanilla. But while I'm doing that, I'm also going to cut out because. So I want my mossy meadow. And I want because. There it is. So we're going to go ahead and stamp this. I'm just going to probably stamp it right over here, actually. So because, we're going to go ahead and close this up. We will clean this off. And where's the die for that one? There it is. The vellum, we're going to cut this piece from that. So, okay, we're pretty much ready to do that. We're going to go ahead, get this because lined up nice. And then this can cut from here. All right, so we need our baby boss again. Here. Put that in and run that through. Why isn't it going through? Of course. There we go. So there's those pieces. Then we bring back the baby boss. And we're going to run through our vellum. So there's our vellum piece. And now we need our just. Let's get that all lined up here. There, that should be good. And run that through. Okay, just we want to be very careful we don't lose the dot to our J. So we're just gonna grab that and set it there for now. Okay. Here's the shadow piece for just. So we can put that back on the magnet board. I'm going to get our little greenery piece here. That back on the magnet board. It goes in the scraps. And we need our because. So there's because. That goes back on the magnet. And that goes in our scrap pile. All right. Oh, thanks, Sherry. My fingers are blue. It's an olive and June color. And I couldn't tell you. Hang on, maybe I can. It's called Ack a Shark. A-C-K, a shark. They do have very weird names, but yeah, that's the color right there. Okay, now I'm going to bring this in and we're going to go ahead and pop out our just. That goes in the scrap pile. And we need our take your pick. And like I said, we want to make sure we don't lose the dot for our J. So it's stuck in there right now, and we're going to leave it there until we're ready for it. So it doesn't walk away on us. All right. So we're going to pop those little shards out. All right. And then using my take your pick tool, I'm going to try to get under. There we go. And now we can go ahead and peel that sticky adhesive backing off. Oh, of course, Cherry. Now we're just going to line this up on our little shadow piece here. There we go. So that just adheres down just like so. Now we need to get that little dot that goes over our eye. Okay, and this is the tricky part because now we got to get that little backing off there. And it went really smoothly this afternoon when I did the card. But I can guarantee because I'm live, it is not going to go as smoothly. Look at that. We got it off. We did it. So we now have just, and we can put that back on the board, cover that up before we poke ourselves, and we're going to go. Okay. So now I have this little piece of vellum that's going to go on here like so. But I do need to use a glue dot, which unfortunately does tend to show. So we're going to strategically place it behind this leaf. There we go. And then we're going to use a pearl to hide it. So it's just going to go on like so. And that is good enough to hold that on there. Now we need a dimensional, and I think, do I have any, minis up here? Of course I don't. Where did my minis go? Yes. Excuse my arm. They are my minis. Okay. Now we're just gonna do just, and then because, and again, we're going to use our mini dimensionals. So that way we don't have to worry about them peeking out. And I like to use 3 of them. Well, thank you, Sherry, because I definitely needed it. Okay. There's our because. So because is going to come over here. Ooh, that might actually hide our glue dot. This time it did. Got it on there right. Okay. So that actually hit our glue dot under there. And now we can go ahead and put our final touches of the little pearls here. I used one of the crumb cake and our calypso coral. Yeah, let's do it this way. There we go. And that finishes card number 2. These cards came together pretty quickly, as you can see. Oh, thank you, Miss Sherry. I appreciate that. Thank you, Miss Brana Sue. Well, thanks, sis. I love crumb cake. It's a neutral color and it goes with everything, and it's one of my faves. If Nancy were on here, she'd tell you. She actually teases me on my crumb cake use. Okay, we are on to our final card, which is the Because I Love You. I love this one too. I love the texture in it. And for this one, I started with an 11 by 4 1/4 piece of thick basic white, scored at 5.5. So we're going to go ahead, get everything lined up, get our bone folder. And burnish that out. Okay. Next, we have our embossed piece. It's another piece of basic white, and I did run it through the Beautiful Patterns embossing folder. So we have that already completed. So that, I don't know if you can see that beautiful pattern on there. And the pattern is so fine that when you flip it over, this is still very smooth. Yes, there are those little dimples in it, but it still feels very smooth to the touch because it's a very subtle. So For this, I don't mind. A lot of times I'll tell you to use your liquid adhesive when you're using a heavily embossed piece because there's so much texture that the glue on your tape runners has a difficult time having enough surface area to adhere. But this one, no worries whatsoever. It will adhere perfectly because it is so smooth. So we're just going to go ahead and put that down just like so. So there's that. I'm going to set that aside for a few minutes. And then I have a scrap of old olive. We're going to die cut more of that greenery piece. I have a scrap of designer series paper. This is what we're going to cut our flowers from. Don't ever shy away from die cutting your designer series paper because that works for making your designs just as good as any cardstock will. I have another piece of vellum to cut out another greenery piece. And then I have a scrap piece for I love you and a scrap piece for because. Okay. Let's get that out of the way here. And let's stamp first, and then we can do all of our cutting. So we're going to start with because, and that is a big chunky stamp. Look at that because. And for that, we're going to use our old olive. So we're going to open that up. There is because. And straight down. Make sure you put enough pressure. And I probably should be using a cushion with a photopolymer stamp, but I don't see my cushion over here. So hopefully my glass mat has enough cushion to it. Not too bad, not too bad. So that's our because. Next, we need our Calypso Coral again. And this time we're going to stamp I love you. You're right, Sue. She would. She absolutely would. That Miss Nancy, she would make fun of me. I get it. I do use it a lot. But I love it so. All right. I love you. There we go. So now we can cover that back up, clean this one off, and now we're ready to do all of our die cutting. So we'll start with where to go. Let's get our dies here and see what we need. All right, we need that flower and that flower. We need this die and this die. And we need because. All right. Let's get everything lined up. So here's because. There we go. I think we got it. Okay. Oh, got the frame for this one, which is right here. The I love you. Okay. And then we need 2 large flowers and a small. And we might just as well start getting our baby boss up here. Oh, got warm up here all of a sudden. I think husband has the wood stove going crazy or something down there because the heat is a rising. Okay. Here we go. There's Because I Love You. There's our because. Now, let's go ahead and get our vellum piece. And we need our greenery piece. All right. And now we need our flowers. And again, I need a large, a small, and a second large. So we'll start with these 2. There's one. And that one's stuck in there, but we're going to go ahead because this is a very thin designer paper. We're not going to worry about that being stuck in there. We're just going to run it through. Cut it out again. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get this all out of the way. Okay. Pull that vellum out. There's that. Take your pick tool will be handy here because we're now going to just poke all those pieces out. So there's our second large flower. We're going to release our little flower. Excuse me. Get rid of all these pieces. There it goes. There's that. Well, it goes back to the board. There's that. That goes to the magnet. And we pop this out. That goes back to the magnet. All right. So now we have our because. So we're going to go ahead and using our baby dimensionals. Because, and then I love you. Again, using our little baby dimensionals. I agree, Kay. It does cover a lot. And just because is just because. No reason. You don't have to have a reason. Just because is just because I was thinking of you, just because you were on my mind, just because. All right. Now, I'm going to use a little liquid glue. In just a few strategic spots. So just going to hold that down. Okay. Next, we are going to get a glue dot right at the base here of our vellum. And that's going to go about like so. Then mini dimensionals right in the center of our flowers. Oop. So start with this one. And that's going to go right about there. And the second large one is going to go, oh, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then our little baby one, peel that backing off. And that one's going to go right there. Like that. And then we're going to bring in those pretty pearls. I start with my white ones. I'm going to use the minis right in the center of our flower. And then we're just going to go there we go. And that completes our third card. Oh, you are so welcome, Miss Arlene. I appreciate you coming to hang out. I truly do. All right. So we'll do a real quick recap. So we have our Because I Love You. And then we have Just Because. And then, of course, our fun fold. I think you're amazing. So those are the 3 cards we did tonight. And again, this is an entire suite of product that you can mix and match. You just like the florals, you could use it whatever sentiment, of course, set that you have. If you like you have like the sentiments, you can pair it with other images that you might have, but they are really definitely something you can mix and match. And of course, the designer series paper. Oh, it's gorgeous. Well, thank you, Kay. I appreciate that. Oh, you are so welcome. And I am glad we could come back this week because I've got a voice again. Gets a little crunchy now and again, but it at least is back for the most part. I don't know where that cold came from, but I was not amused. But it's over with. We're good. Thank you, Miss Sherry. You as well. All right, ladies, again, as always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your short Sundays to hang out with me. I really, truly appreciate each and every one of you and the time that you spend with me. And I wish you all a fabulous rest of your evening and an even better week ahead. God willing, next week I'll be back with something more. Good night, everyone. Bye for now.